Guys, welcome back to another edition of Dealmaker Nation. Hope you had a happy Labor Day tonight. Mr. Daniel Heider with TTR Sotheby's Real Estate. He's young, ambitious. He's taken the DC real estate scene by storm, and he's only been in the game for 7 years. 133 million in sales year to date, and it's only September. He is currently listing the former estate of Bernard Arnault, a $75 million listing out here in Virginia of the former third richest man in the world. He's worked with the likes of the former Patrick Ewing estate. He's listed the former Mike Tyson estate. He has the #1 TikTok real estate page in the world. He has 750,000 followers on TikTok alone in real estate. He's only 33 years old. Welcome, Mr. Daniel Heider, tonight to Dealmaker Nation. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's get to it.
All right.
Danny, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Daniel.
How's it going? Thanks
Dude,
for having me.
Unbelievable track record. Amazing what you've done in 7 years. I mean,
Incredible.
Thank you.
working with the ultra elite and wealthy of Washington, D.C. region is incredible. Can you tell us how you got started?
Oh my God. I don't think I ever meant to be selling real estate, but it started out basically as kind of a test game for me. I didn't go to college, and I was thinking to myself, I was sort of in that space where I was trying to decide what I wanted to do with my life. And a friend of mine was working as a restaurant manager. I was a server at the time, and he was working for a big real estate agent. And he said, you ought to come and work for me and be my assistant. And I was kind of like, real estate's not really my thing. I wanted to get into government or politics, and ended up just really loving it and starting out at a local brokerage here in Washington. And then that sort of evolved from there. Short story. It's a lot more intricate, but I'll spare you all the details.
Yeah, I got to say, I got to congratulate you because you were the first real estate agent we've had on the show. We've had a lot of real estate investors, commercial guys, wholesalers, flippers. And one of the things we've noticed about our group is we actually have a ton of really smart, awesome real estate agents in our group. 5,000 members just in one group, and now we're expanding across the country. And we kept on hearing from people, hey, you gotta have some awesome realtors on the show. So like, okay, if we're gonna have a realtor on the show, we want to have like the best of the best.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show today.
I hope I can live up to all the hype.
Hey, there's not many real estate agents out there that have $75 million listings. The $1 million listing guys, I think you're giving them a run for their money.
I've got a lot of respect for them. I mean, to be able to do this job with a camera in your face at the same time is a skill set that I'm interested in learning about.
Awesome. I got a question for you, Daniel. So if you look at the stats, I don't know what the exact stat is, but the average realtor out there makes like no money. They make like $35K a year or something and sell on average like 1 or 2 houses. Mm-hmm. You're on the opposite side of the spectrum. You're in the like top 1% of the top 1%. So what's the difference between the average realtor that is not making any money and guys like you who are just crushing it, selling $75 million houses? How do you get from starting from zero to that kind of business?
There are a lot of important, I think, elements that are building blocks that that help you go from zero to, having a great business. And I can tell you, I'm not too far away from being at zero. So it's not, it's close to home still. And I can tell you, I get a lot of people that reach out and ask me for advice and how I did it. And I think the most important thing that I could probably tell you in that aspect, and that separates a lot of the people who really, go after what they say they want, is their ability to really add so much value to the point that they just become indispensable. If they can be as lucky and fortunate as I was to, get their foot in the door at a good firm and have somebody who really believed in them as I did, I was very, very lucky in that regard. I think the name of the game is just being able to front load so much value that folks just can't live without you, and you translate that to your client set and at the time sort of your the early sort of bosses that we worked underneath, and to answer another part of your question, which is what separates a real estate agent like me from maybe a real estate agent who doesn't have the production. It's really all about, of course, adding your value, but also getting a hold of your time and really being able to leverage your time. So I think if you look at two side-by-side real estate agents, one who's sort of a lone wolf, who's doing all of their contract paperwork and all of their marketing and handling all of the phone calls and going on all of the appointments and doing everything by themselves. And you look at somebody like me, where all I do is business development and client management and relationship management. And I've gotten to the point, and this didn't happen overnight, but to where I have such an incredible leverage on my time that, where I was describing that one agent who maybe spends 80% of their time doing things that don't really necessarily grow their business, I spend 100% of my time on things that grow this business. And with that, it takes a lot of time. I've certainly gone through a lot of assistance and systems and people, and but I can tell you, building a really good team and being the sum of those people who you strategically put around you makes a huge difference. So I would say in my life, those were the things that made a huge difference to me, and I'm still learning.
Wow, incredible advice, and clearly it's paying off with you. I mean, you got a $75 million listing, the biggest listing in all of Virginia right now. And another cool fact about you is you actually sold Mike Tyson's home in Maryland, right? His former home in Maryland.
I've got it listed on the market currently.
That's awesome.
It's a spectacular home, and it's been amazing to be able to work with that family. Just, I love things that are interesting. And somebody who I really love told me, I was asking her for advice a long time ago, should I focus on one specific neighborhood or one specific thing? And she looked at me and said, Danny, that's crazy. You selling in one neighborhood would be like working at Bergdorf Goodman and only selling ties. How boring is that? So, my business has sort of ratcheted up and thankfully, and I've gotten to really love the properties with the interesting provenance and the story that has just been dying to be told in an artful, way that contributes to, the net outcome for my client. It's a really fun thing to do.
I got a clip from Mike. Do you mind if I roll my clip?
Oh, sure. Please.
All right, let's roll it. So this is Mike Tyson. The interesting thing, we talked about this before the show. The interesting thing is you said all of these people, like the $75 million listing, Mike Tyson, all these guys, they reached out to you is because of what you're doing on social media. You have the biggest following in the world on real estate on TikTok, 750,000 followers. So you get these big celebrities like Mike Tyson reaching out to you, asking you to list their home. So I got to roll this clip, then we got to dive into that of exactly how you did that.
Sure.
But here.
Hi, I'm Mike Tyson. This house you're about to look at is on the 6th Congressional Hole. And I lived here for around 10 years. I bought this house out of the Rob Report magazine one time, I think 25 years ago. It's a great house, all great locations, have great schools here, and I had a wonderful time there. And anyone that purchased this house is going to have a magnificent time. It's great for family activities, it's great for kids, and you're just going to get great use out of it. Thank you.
I love that.
Mr. Tyson is a nice man, soft-spoken, and a beast in the ring.
Absolutely, an absolute legend. That's got to be a story you're going to tell your grandkids about. Hey, remember that back when I was back in my young old days, I sold Mike Tyson's house.
Well, I do have to correct you on just one thing. I was selected for that listing because prior to that, it wasn't based off of social media, but it was based off of a sale that was currently, or was formerly, the most expensive sale in the state of Maryland.
Wow.
My team handled, we listed and sold last year, the Corby Mansion. And then another listing in Bethesda, which was the highest at its time on Bradley Road. And with that performance, they reached out to me, and I was lucky enough to toss my hat in the ring. Of course, as you can imagine, every shark real estate agent in DC, Maryland, and Virginia was trying to bang down that door. But I'm very fortunate that I'd won their trust, and I'm able to present their beautiful home to the global market. So,
wow, awesome.
So Danny, in your business trajectory, I mean, all of us, whether investor, agent, lender, it doesn't matter what we do, we're all sort of growing our own businesses here. What was sort of the breakthrough moment in your business? What did your business look like in, let's call it year 1, 2, and 3, and now year 7, you're doing 133 million in production year to date. Like, what was that defining moment that really, was an aha moment for you?
I mean, the true story is, I wanted to be significant. And I wanted to do something that was really big and bigger than me. And I think when you're young and you grow up in Washington D.C. and all of my friends were they were law clerks, and they were Senate pages and going to med school, and I was just looking around and thinking to myself, none of that really fits for me. And, I wanted to do something that I could put sort of my strengths and abilities to work at. And that is working with people. And I found throughout the years that representing people in what is most of the time for most people, the most significant and definitely stress-inducing time in someone's life is something that I'm very good at walking someone through and protecting people in and sort of advising. You have to wear a lot of different caps when you do this, and I like that. I like that no day is the same and no client is the same and no outcome is the same. But I wanted something that would give me that sort of flexibility. I certainly didn't want to work for anybody else. So that was the driving factor. I think to answer the second part of your question, what did my business look like year 1, versus now? Year 1 was all about activating people and getting them to think of me as, Daniel Heider, the real estate agent. Daniel Heider, the guy that you call when you need to sell a home or when you need advice on purchasing one. And that takes a while, and that takes a lot of dedication, and it's very uncomfortable to all of a sudden go from, being in sort of your sort of early first quarter crisis to being Daniel Heider, the real estate agent, and thinking of really creative content to put out there, and ways that people would start attaching my name in real estate as one and the same. And it's funny, I used to work in my early days, year 1, as I was like, the scum of the earth, the assistant of the and I was just so happy to be in the room. And I would work really, really, really long days. And At the time, I was still working in the restaurant at night, and I just remember going to meet some of my friends in their mid-20s out at bars, and of course they all got out at 5 o'clock and started drinking at 6, and I would show up to the bar at 10 o'clock or sometimes 11 o'clock in my my suit and tie, and the term Mr. Real Estate was coined in the social group that I was a part of at the time.
I love it.
And it's so funny. I wouldn't trade that moniker for anything, because that's exactly what I wanted, and that's exactly what I got. And I'm pretty sure that if you were to ask somebody what they think of when they hear the name Daniel Heider, who are familiar with me, they'd probably say real estate. So I'm still working on it, but it's something that's certainly evolved over time.
And can you explain to our audience, because a lot of folks are not familiar with this sort of ultra luxurious estate, like a $75 million listing or $15 million listing. That's not sort of the common thing for a lot of even real estate investors or agents. Can you explain how that business segment compares to, let's say, listing $1 million home, for example? How does the business compare?
They're different in a lot of aspects. I mean, at the end of the day, the commonality between a $500,000 transaction and a $75 million transaction is the component of trust. And I tell you that when you get to the level of the 10 and 15 and now $75 million brackets, you have to be qualified to be there, and you have to be sending a very strong signal and a very sturdy vibration to the client that you're getting ready to serve, that you're the man for the job or the woman for the job or the person for the job. And I think that really stepping my game up and being able to look at my business over the years and having great sales and heavily reinvesting my profits right back into my business. And whether it's in marketing assets, we're known for, doing some pretty crazy things. I just recently chartered a helicopter for a dramatic video for that $75 million video that we did for Mount Ida Reserve. I get special drone licenses from the FAA on a regular basis. They probably know my name over there. We are very scrupulous when it comes to editing, and my hands are in everything when it comes to marketing and copy and the way that a property is presented. And again, back to leverage on my time, one of the things that I've been fortunate to do is be involved so granularly in all of the marketing, because I've made it that way. And when I think of a property, for instance, one that you flashed on the screen, one that I have listed right now, Chateau de Rivière, which is a sublime estate listed by two of the most incredible developers in the region, Mike and Mandy Maffei, who are also very dear friends of mine. I think of that in a more cinematic sense. And, if you see the video, which is yet to be released, I'll send it to you first. You'll have it first. But, I wanted to sort of up the ante and tell the story of, a VIP coming in to experience that house for the first time. So, we got a bunch of Escalades that drove in a line, and we got this beautiful model who, entered the home. And, it's always trying to sort of think outside of the box and really connect to the right buyer. I think that if you don't understand the buyer, you certainly can't sell to them. Even in little examples that I have for, things that I buy, I certainly don't buy $15 million mansions, but not yet at least. But, I can tell you that when I'm walking into a store or when I'm paying for a service, I'm looking for somebody who is speaking my language and who's knowledgeable, and who's gonna really, get the job done. If it's something that I need representation, or if it's advice that I need, I'm looking for that person who is really ready to put it all on the line so that we can have a real relationship, and I can trust them and go back to them and use them over and over and over, whether it's the guy who makes my suits or the place that I get my bagel in the morning, I'm pretty particular. So I like to treat people the way that I like to be treated.
Wow. Now, one thing I noticed about you, Daniel, is you talked a lot about reinvesting in your business. A lot of realtors, like, to be honest, the way I've felt over the years with a lot of realtors is they just look at the comps on the MLS if you're trying to buy something and like give you the comps and like don't really add that much value. Or if you're trying to sell something, they just list it and like they don't provide that much value. What I see different with you is you really focus on really investing and really providing value. Your social media game, your video game, your photography game is unmatched. We're talking like some of the best I've seen in the world. Like when I hit your website, danielheider.com, the first thing I noticed is you're welcomed by this incredible, like Hollywood level cinema video. It's just so professional.
Thank you.
So well done. You've done that with all your properties too. Do you mind if I roll that? And then I want to talk to you, like, for the other real estate agents that are watching this that want to up their game and get to that level. I want to jump in after this and talk about how do you do that? How do you get a production like this going? Yeah. But let me roll that video and then we'll dive into that right after. Okay. So here's what you see when you hit Daniel's website.
My grandfather, Ole Morgan, was a championship boxer in Washington, D.C.
I can see a day of gold ahead.
He taught me that a fight is won long before the opening bell. Through hard work, dedication, and preparation. It requires a certain discipline that is seldom seen, let alone recognized. An unrivaled focus on the prize. For Heider, that prize is your happiness. Perfection is our practice. Delighting you is our default. Doing so is not just a personal victory, but a victory for all of us in your corner. Because when you do what you love for people you love, everyone wins. Your enduring trust is all that matters to us. Something we hope to earn with everything we do, even after the deal is done. Heider, your home is just the start.
Wow.
So, talk about awesome. Dropping
That's
game.
Awesome.
Thank you. Well, that, first of all, took me, believe it or not, 3 years.
Wow.
What most people don't understand when they see a video like that and they go to my website is that the website, and we're going to talk about marketing now, right? So this is an appropriate time to sort of give you a window into the way that I think about marketing and how granular it can be sometimes for me. Down to the typography on danielheider.com. It is my own typography. It is a licensed typography.
Wow.
I have my own brand standards. I have my own colors. I have it all, very much down to a science. And, when we wrote the script for that movie called The Boxer, we wanted to figure out a way to communicate, our ethos to the world. And, what is Heider about? What separates us from everyone else? I mean, I think that being a real estate agent is being somebody who has to kind of sell you on their value, over and over and over again. And it's really hard to try to meet someone in their in their dining room or in their kitchen and give them the full breadth of what an experience working with my team is. And so, that it gives you a little snippet of, my history, what I care about, my family and my grandfather, and the fight, the being able to wake up every day and keep keep at it and and everybody in that video, I'm proud to say, every single person is a real client of mine. Every property in that is a property that I have sold. Every part of that video is deeply personal to me. So, that I wanted to build that so, the folks chance to, or I don't get the chance to sort of sit with and meet in person, that they could get a little sort of peek into what the Heider experience is all about. And at the end of the video, it goes into our tagline, which is "Your home is just the start." And that's true in a lot of ways, but for me and my team, we serve people well past the settlement table.
Yeah.
The start, your home is just the start of our relationship, of what we're going to do together. I've been all around the world with my clients. I've gotten to see places I never thought I'd ever go to through this job. I've been at baptisms and christenings and birthday parties and funerals and, celebrations for big corporate windfalls. And I've been also, at the, I've been the shepherd that pulls everybody together when there's divorce or there's tragedy. So, your home is just to start with me, because I'm only looking for people and families and opportunity that are, that are real. This is a relationship-driven business, and as the stakes get higher, and my time is, lessened, we want to do this business with people that we really, love and that love and appreciate us.
Amazing. So, Danny, I got to ask you, what are the three most important things? What are the three things that you do today in top priority to continue to build your business? Because I'm assuming, like, the type of clients that you work with, I would assume that referral is a huge part of what you do, but I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
No, it's number one. It always has been. I've never been a cold caller. I've never been an internet prospector. If you send me a message on DanielHeider.com or Sotheby's International Realty, I'll reach out to you once. And if you don't get back to me, all right, well then we're not going to work together. We're probably not a match. So, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I mean that, in sort of a, the cornerstone of my business are the existing relationships that we continue to service every single day. And I know this may be hard to believe for a lot of investors and, the brokers that you were talking about earlier that are probably watching the show right now, the, A-type people, but I am actually just as excited to work with some of our clients who are listing the $10 million homes as I am to work with the first-time home buyers who, I've met through a very good friend who, I may have sold him his first house and we're on property number 3. Or it's a family who, whose daughter is getting ready to buy their first house. My team services those folks with the same exuberance and purpose and passion as we do with the people that, we work with in the big leagues, and we treat everyone the same, everyone. So I think to answer your question, 3 things that I do consistently: I never forget where I came from. I never forget, that, I'm at the party. I'm at the party right now, but nothing is guaranteed. It's one thing to get lucky and to list a couple big houses and to, have a good Instagram following for a moment in time, or, to have some big sales under your belt, but to show up and to do it over and over and over and over and over and over again is a different thing. And so, I'm very, very grateful to be here, and I'm just trying, I'm trying to stay at the party. So I keep that in mind. I would say number 2, I keep incredible people around me. I have the best team in the world. My business manager, Justin DeFranco, who's my brother, is there for every single thing that I do. He, sees all the successes, the ups and the downs, and everything in between. He's sort of the logistic side of the business that we have. And I wouldn't want to do this without him. Sean New, my marketing director, who joined me from NASA, is absolutely brilliant. Nicole Terry, one of my senior sales advisors, is my sister. Cody Macbeth, who just joined my team as another senior sales advisor. These are all people that, keep the trains running at Heider and in my group. And I would say keeping the best folks around me at all times. Sam Aticha, my executive assistant, and Adam Lazoff, ops assistant, and Jen Tugberg. These are the people who are at the nucleus of my business world, and I am 100% just a better business person because I have wonderful people like them who are absolutely trustworthy and dedicated to what they do every day, and have signed up for my vision and who execute on it with me every day, and we get to help each other out. So keeping great people around me. Remembering where I came from. And then, I would say, just drive. I've been very fortunate that I'm driven by no. I'm driven by
love that.
You can't. I'm driven by the chuckles. Oh, we'll see if he gets that. I'm driven by that. So everything that I look at is a positive. When it's a negative, it's a positive. I mean, and so I really try to keep that in the center. I mean, a lot of my drive and the drive of my team has been born out of a lot of the moments where maybe we were made to feel like we couldn't do something, right? And I have to tell you, it's the most dangerous thing in the world to tell me and my team that we're not going to do something or we can't do something, because we do. We always overcome and we always get to the top. And, I think everyone's idea of what the top is in that sense is a lot of different things, right? We're all overcoming things and working through challenges. And I don't mean getting to the top in just a sales sense. I mean getting to the top in a happiness with myself sense and fulfillment sense. So those are the 3 things.
You've been in this for 7 years. How far you've grown in 7 years is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Most people don't get there in their entire career. Now, on that roller coaster, it's interesting. You're just talking about how, the no's and the people saying, let's watch him get this, I'd like to see him, the negativity is really what's fueled you. But I'm sure on this entire journey, you've had a lot of challenges, a lot of big obstacles you've had to overcome. What do you think were some of the biggest obstacles you had to overcome on your journey from starting from, an assistant to now, let's see, $75 million homes?
It's all in your head. I think that people are, I don't think that people mean to prescribe advice or to be pejorative sometimes, even to be on purpose. I think that a lot of people prescribe certain things based off of their own life experience. And,
right.
So where I got a lot of early advice from people that was, well, you need to have gray hair on your head in order to make this happen, to give someone a compliment. Well, just get a few more years under your belt and, it'll be fine. Or I would get people that would say, well, you're doing so great. You're fine, or you're not going to make a certain amount of money until you're this many years into the process. All of these limiting things that were true for them, and how sad. I'm really lucky that I told myself, I'm not going to be that guy.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to be that person. And I think it's very important to be very careful about who you get the advice from when you seek advice, because everyone's prescribing advice based off of their own life. And so I think a lot of advice that I got early on was, rooted in just really what that person could or couldn't make happen, and what they were trying to maybe subconsciously put limits on me.
Right.
And then
they're taking their own limits and like kind of projecting them on you.
Yeah. And a funny thing happens when you people get uncomfortable when you exceed the limits that they place on you, right? That's when the show really starts.
Yeah.
And that's when the fortitude comes to play. That's when the really good people around you start to really help. That's when the mindset and the pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and just going and just doing and being confident and being knowledgeable and it's more than just reading comps. It's an expectation that you're going to be at the table and just the willingness to, meet luck sometimes in the middle. I think Warren Buffett's first principle of success is luck. Yeah. You got to be extraordinarily lucky, right? And so I think there are a lot of folks out there that would say that you probably don't get extraordinary lucky if you're not prepared for it. So they're one and the same. You got to know that it's going to happen, and I'm lucky that I did.
You got to have a lot of drive to do everything you've done over the last few years. What drives you? What's your driver?
Freedom. And freedom takes a lot of different forms in my life, but I don't want people that I love to worry about things. I hope to have a family one day. I hope to be able to give to people in my family the way that I could only dream of. To be able to, comfortably retire at an age and know that I have enough in the bank to where I can sleep at night, to the point where, if I need to take care of someone in my family, I can do that. And it's not going to break the bank for me. That, if someone in my family needs braces, they're getting braces. If someone needs to go to college, they're going to go to college. For me, freedom means freedom to do a lot of things. So, I like freedom.
Yeah, I find this in a lot of, I almost want to say like the anti-entrepreneurs, right? They're like, oh, you business people, you're just chasing money all the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm always thinking back, I'm like, no, it's not about the money. The money is just a tool, right? The money gives you the freedom to be able to do what you want, take care of your family, give your kids braces, to be able to go on that vacation, to not have to stress all the time, right? It's not a lot of times people see really successful entrepreneurs, they think it's all about the money, but really it's not. It really is about the freedom, I think, for most people. Well,
back to life experience, I think it's a lot. And look, you guys have me on the show because I have, a really cool, marketing apparatus, and I've got a great social media following, and I've got a lot of big sales under my belt. But what is so interesting is that I always kind of get a chuckle at a lot of the reality TV shows, Selling Sunset and looking at the lifestyle that they portray.
My client's fiance is on that show.
And I say to myself, like, if you really knew what this was like, and I'm not going to say like, this is bad, this is awesome, I think I have the best job in the world. But this is not just showing up in a Ferrari and having lunch at the Four Seasons and kissing people on both cheeks and getting the deal done. That's not what it is. And so, I think a lot of people like to conceptualize what being me is, or what being a successful person at any degree in any industry is, until they actually get behind the curtain and they're behind the wheel and they're, faced with what we are faced with every day. There's a ton of responsibility when you're responsible for 8 people's livelihoods.
Yeah.
8 people, right? Some of which have children, some of which have school to pay for. You know, I take this really seriously. And so, you know, look, all that, I think it's the perception mirage, right?
Yeah.
So, you know.
Hey, Danny, the questions are pouring in on social media, but before we get to some of them, we got to ask you about your TikTok page, because I mean, 750,000 followers is no joke. How did you grow the #1 TikTok page in real estate in the world? How did you do it, and what impact has it had on your business?
Whew. Well, I can tell you, I've invested more capital into HD video than anybody in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And I don't think that's puffery. Those are facts. And if you want to take a look at the video collage, go to danielheider.com and take a look at them. You know, and I was trying to think of a way to repurpose a lot of the video that I spend a fortune on, which, you know, for most listings that are on the market, sometimes for even just days, that video only lives for a very finite amount of time. And you know, and I believe that marketing should be fun. You know, I mean, I want people to enjoy, you know, the content that we produce. And so, you know, I'll look at a certain property and it'll give me a certain vibe. And most recently on TikTok, we the former estate of Patrick Ewing, which I sold one day on market at full list price, which was a pretty big deal because it had been listed by numerous real estate agents before I did. And the house is this beautiful, just stone manor house. And it's just got this sort of permanence vibe to it. And I was thinking to myself, it's just got this, you know, Succession vibe, you know, that show Succession. I love it so much. And so I thought to myself, you know, we had some Bentleys in the video, and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be awesome if we spliced up the video and we dubbed over the Succession, you know, song. And so, you know, that video went totally viral online. I mean, I also, you know, in DC, where it's been very, very conservative for so long. I mean, my God, the amount of virtual tours where it's where they're called, you know, movies, where they're basically just blurry photos that seek in out of each other with some horrible stock music that looks like garbage, right? We're selling luxury properties. We're selling the idea of a lifestyle. I want people to be excited. Right. So, yeah, I've got the Bentley rolling in and the Rolls rolling in and like the music, and it's cutting to cool transitions. So I wanted to express myself in that way. And, you know, I'm lucky. I hired a bunch of Gen Zers, a bunch of kids that are even younger than me, that keep me even younger. You know, Sean, my marketing director, was like, hey, we need to be on TikTok. And I was kind of like, I kind of poo-pooed it at first. I was kind of like, what? Like, these are all 13-year-olds doing little TikTok dances, you know? How in the world are we going to ever get anything out of that, right? And
that's what I was thinking, by the way, Danny. When Josh called me up, he's like, man, we got to get Daniel Heider on the show. And I'm going to be honest with you. I told him, I'm like, Josh, like, he's like, yeah, he's got 750,000 followers on TikTok. I'm like, but TikTok, like, that's all kids. Like,
yeah.
Like,
well, let me frame something for you really quickly. Okay. At one point, Instagram was just for kids,
right?
And Facebook was just for kids. And I'll tell you something. The way that I see my business, I always like to diversify. If you go online and you look at my market share, I'm in Great Falls leading the market. I'm in Potomac leading the market. I'm in Georgetown. I'm in Logan Circle. I'm all over the place. I'm in DC, Maryland, and Virginia at a high velocity because I like to diversify my business. And right. Good for me, you know, with COVID, there's this mass exodus to the suburbs, and who was perfectly positioned for the suburban markets? We were. And it was because of that strategic thinking. And I'll tell you, with TikTok, it's the same way. I look at our viewership on TikTok as future Heider clients. And I'll tell you what, I've gotten some really big opportunity from TikTok. So, never, I was just at my dermatologist and getting my face lasered. And I was in the chair and she's putting numbing cream on my face. And she's like, hey, do you still have that penthouse available at Westlight? And I'm like, Dr. Porter, like, what are you talking about? And she's like, my daughter follows you on TikTok, and she showed me, and she was like, hey, Mom, we should get this condo because she's an empty nester. And so, listen, and listen, guys, you all know this. If you have kids or people that have kids, the authority that kids yield. So, you put something in front of a younger person, and they're going to remember it. And I'll tell you what, it's been cool because not only have we been able to express ourselves creatively, and get real bona fide opportunity from it. But it's something that we've been able to really communicate with a lot of people from all around the world who have questions about how to get started or how to grow a business or an internship opportunity. Or, I never thought that I'd be at the point where I am now, but I get dozens every single day, dozens of requests from people who just want to set up a call.
Wow.
We just need a little bit of advice. And so my dilemma right now is trying to figure out how I reach all of the people that just want to, to chat and just want a little advice. And there are a lot of kids out there, especially in, COVID environment, which, by the way, our TikTok viewership exploded during COVID. It was COVID that, really blew it up. And so there are a lot of kids who are graduating from school and they don't know what to do, but they watch our TikToks.
Wow.
And they're interested in real estate. And, look, it's powerful when you can reach that many people. And now, I don't know of one other real estate agent in the tri-state area that can say that they have more social media followers than every single local brokerage in the tri-state area combined.
Yeah.
And I don't say that to brag. I say that because it's just true and it's awesome. And we get to put properties in front of, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people with a push of a button. And it adds value to our network and our clients.
I think what's really key here too, like initially I was thinking TikTok, why are you on TikTok, right? It's all kids. But now when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking back to like YouTube, like when YouTube came out, I can't remember, I don't know, like 2004, 2005. I'm in like junior high or high school or whatever. I'm watching with all my friends posting like skateboard videos and it was just all kids. And now there's like, I don't know, 10 times more hours every day watched on YouTube than there are television. Everyone watches it from every age group and no one even has cable anymore. So I think what you're doing here is like, you're looking at where the early adopters are, which is the kids. The kids, are the first ones on YouTube, the first ones on Facebook, the first ones on Instagram. You're looking at where the attention is shifting and you're trying to get in there early. Because imagine if you started a YouTube channel in 2005 on real estate. You'd have the number one channel in the country.
And again, don't you see a trend, a generational trend where people who just don't understand something are quick to say that it's irrelevant or it's stupid, right? Well, look who's laughing now. So look, that's just the way the world works, right? And I was one of those people, by the way. I told you, I was like, why are we doing this? And but it was really a way, and by the way, that TikTok viewership grows our Instagram following by thousands and thousands of people every single week. So in less than a year, went from having 0 Instagram followers on Heider _real estate to now having 30,000 followers on Instagram. So
I got to ask you this: how did you feel when Trump announced that he was planning on banning TikTok?
Oh, panic!
How did that?
Panic and anxiety. We immediately cut a video that was like, follow, Heider Real Estate on Instagram, and we tried to make it really sexy, and because when you get a hold of that many people, you certainly don't want to lose it.
Right.
Look, I have people. Here's the other thing. Let's talk about monetizing that, right? we have people that reach out to us on a weekly basis that want us to feature a certain song or an app, right? They'll pay us $3,000 to put an app out there, right? To do nothing. I could monetize it, but I don't, because I'm super OCD about, my brand and about what we present to the world. But, it was definitely a scary time when I heard that. But, hey, I think it would have opened the door to another opportunity for us. And what we probably would have done is gotten right on Triller, or we would have.
I don't even know that one. What is Triller?
So Triller is basically the U.S. equivalent to TikTok. A lot of people are betting on that horse right now, and I'm sure Triller's hoping to God that TikTok gets banned. But we'd find another way to capture that audience, right? So we would go all into Instagram Reels, or we'd go the Triller route, or we'd do something. I mean, it would open the door for something else creative, because let me tell you, that TikTok page is a full-time job.
Wow.
So we got to get to some of the questions coming in from the community before we close this up. But one of the questions they're asking, which I think you've talked a little bit about, is what does your lead generation system look like? It sounds like social media is a huge part of how you generate leads.
Yeah, I would say that social media is more of an apparatus to keep people engaged, in knowing that we're there and we're transacting, and that you can trust us, when you can constantly put out, social proof of examples of listings that you've either sold in a day, or a multiple offer situation that you've overcome with a client, or a super famous person just listed their house with you. For me, social media is it's more proof that I'm really good at my job and my team is really good at what we do, than it is, I'm going to put out this post and then I'm going to get a listing, or I'm going to get a buyer. By the time somebody, gives me a call, all you have to do is just, nowadays with Google, I just put your name into Google and everything pops up. So when you put Daniel Heider in, you're getting a lot of stuff. So I just wanted it to be that one extra layer of social proof that we're good at our job. But lead generation system is me. You're looking at it. I am the lead generation system, and the lead generation system that I have in place is historically being relevant and top of mind for the people that have already given me their trust. I've already done the big transaction with them. They already know who I am. They already know what I'm about. They already know that when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And so constantly engaging that base of people that has built my business brick by brick is my lead generation system. And so, we're at the point now where, a lot of people want to work with us, and by the grace of God. So, I get to focus on the people that I've already worked with pretty much. That's the lead generation system. And I'll tell you what, when people have a great experience, they talk. And when people have a bad experience, they talk even more. So there are we're very fortunate to have a lot of diehard Heider fans that have referred us to their friends and family, and people that they know and love and trust, and bankers that see our performance. And when they have a big deal client, they don't want to chance it with somebody who they're just not quite sure they're going to knock it out of the park. And so they call me, and attorneys, and, I get referrals from everyone. I get referrals from people who, I work with, or that I've worked with in, clothing stores. I just sold a $15 million house and a $7 million house to the same person in a 2-week span. And that stemmed from a relationship where I was really nice to the manager at a clothing store. So like, just, the way I look at life is lead generation, right? I can justify buying a first-class ticket every time that I travel, because I make it a point to get to know the person who's sitting to the right of me or to the left of me. And I can justify, living in a super fancy apartment building early on in my career, because that apartment ended up paying for itself because of all the people that I met there that I ended up selling houses to. And now the people that they introduced me to, and the people that they introduced me to, and those people and those people. And so again, back to, those 3 points that I made earlier, is just not forgetting where I came from. It's also not forgetting who got you here. And I pay a lot of attention to those people. And I try to really serve that basis of clients over and over and over again, in more than just a way that's selling them a house. We help people get jobs. We help people figure out private school. We do. I'm listed as an emergency contact on a lot of my clients, personal security systems and their home security systems. And, people rely on us to help them with a lot of different things. We get them restaurant reservations, and, we connect, capital, to budding entrepreneurs, and we do a lot of things. And that's your home is just the start.
Wow. Amazing. We got another question coming in here actually from Hiwa, and how you doing, Hiwa? He's asking, what is the Middle East desk? So
at Sotheby's International Realty, because we are a global firm, and specifically at Sotheby's, we're sort of dominating the global market. We're able to work with our affiliates all around the world. And so I think what he's probably asking is that I am affiliated with our Middle East desk here in Washington, which means that I service a number of families from the region, and most of the time when a GCC person comes to Washington, they're working with me if they're working with Sotheby's, and I go to Abu Dhabi, and I go to Dubai, and I go to Bahrain. Obviously when there's not a global pandemic, I try to get there at least twice a year. And it's just basically a specialized client set that I work with.
I got to ask you, what is that like? Like, I mean, in my mind, I'm imagining like these Saudi oil princes like coming to get their like pad in DC so that they can hobnob with DC elite. And how much of that is real? Is that how it really is, or like how managing? What does it look like managing that desk?
It's without going into detail, I can tell you that some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, gracious, educated, thoughtful people I've ever known are from the region. So don't believe what you hear and what you read. A lot of them are very tender-hearted and compassionate and incredibly scrupulous, and they're wonderful people.
We got another question coming in. He says, you talk about trust, but how is it that you get people to trust you?
Gosh, that's a long question. I mean, I think a lot of it starts with competency. And I think that, one of the best things about real estate is that it's all published data, right? If you want to look at every single transaction that I've ever done, you could do that right now. Just go to, just Google Daniel Heider, go to Sotheby's International Realty, put my name into, associates, and you can look at literally every single deal that I've ever done in my life. And so, getting somebody to trust you is conveying that you're competent in being able to serve them at the level that they require. And so I put a lot of emphasis into making it known that I'm not just doing this to turn a quick dollar, and that I'm not in this for a quick commission. And I don't have, the sales pressure behind my eyes just to make a quick commission. Like I said, I'm in this for the whole shebang. I work tirelessly for my clients, and I'm able to invest the amount of money and hire the people that I have on my team, and go to the lengths that I do to market these homes and win these clients over, because quite frankly, I'm never focused on just one transaction. I want everything. So when you can go into a situation and you can look at a client in their eyes or a family that is needing to sell for whatever reason, and confidently give them the data that they require to make a decision, and convey that you are apprised of the market, and that you've got high energy, and that you've been trusted by hundreds and hundreds of families to do it. That's a really good way to prove your trust. And I would say that if you maybe if you don't have the big sales record behind you, maybe you just focus on the relationship a little bit more, and see how you can really add the most amount of value and become indispensable. You're going to have to become a superhuman and really know the market better than everyone else at first. And you're going to have to really focus on the way that you present yourself and the knowledge that you present. So how do you convey trust is a big question, but in a lot of different ways. I hope I helped you with that.
Absolutely. I guess if no one else has a question from the audience, how much does, I've seen that you're part of like 2 major charities in downtown DC. Obviously with COVID happening, it's probably hard to, network in person. How much does networking play a part in what you do, and how has COVID affected your ability to do so, or in terms of lead generation or whatever?
Yeah, it's affected it greatly. In some ways, it's it's opened up a lot of time that I didn't know that I had. All of a sudden we're not going to home inspections, and we're not going to settlements, and we're not going to appraisals, and there's a lot more time. So with that time, you can kind of make room for more business and for more outreach and for more follow-up. And I think that a lot of people conceptualize like networking as like, you have to show up in a suit, you have to have a big stack of business cards, you have to be at like a cocktail party, and you have to, give your elevator pitch to everyone, and that's how you network with people, right? Mm-hmm. In my world, I think networking is, it's not about networking. It's about connecting with people who you already know. I mean, I think starting with the people that already know and trust you is a great way to get warmed up. But I'm on the board of directors at Washington Performing Arts, a charity that's very near and dear to my heart. And we haven't had our gala this year, and or I should say the pandemic wiped out our gala this year, and it was online and wasn't, of course, attended in person. I love to meet new people, and I love to be physically out there. I'm the kind of guy that, if you can't tell by these cheeks, I go to dinner every single night on the town. I go to lunch and dinner every single day, and I know my servers by their first names everywhere at all the restaurants, and my valet parkers and everybody that I know, in these restaurants. And I'm really trying to focus on helping folks in hospitality right now. That's a big focus of mine. So I'm just trying to answer some of the questions that you threw out there. So performing arts, and trying to find charities that like World Central Kitchen is one that I love. I love Fabio Trabocchi restaurants, and he's got a really great employee relief fund, and my friend Tiffany at Buttercream Bake Shop, who I love. We try to help whenever we can, right? To whomever we can. It's not like just one person or one thing, which is hard for me because, I know a lot of people. So helping everyone is kind of hard, but I got lost in the sauce. Where am I now?
I guess what's interesting about you, Daniel, is you really focus on like going the extra mile to provide value. Because, to be blunt, like back in the day, realtors made their 3% commission, I think because they had a monopoly on the data, right? If you wanted to run comps, know what the sales were, knew what was for sale, you would have to talk to a realtor because they had the monopoly on the data set. Then Zillow comes along, all these tech platforms come along, all that data now becomes democratized. Now those realtors that are doing nothing but just giving you the comps and showing you what's for sale, I think a lot of them are starting to die out. And I feel like they're maybe being replaced by guys like you that are going the extra mile to actually provide more value. And like I'll give you an example. So I was in Texas for the last 2 weeks, and I'm planning to move from California to Texas to lower my taxes, basically. Okay. So I got to buy a house. I'm there for like 2 weeks. I'm like, I'm going to look at 40 houses. I'm going to try to find a deal. Like my company sold, through our clients, we've sold $150 million of houses off market in the last 12 months. So I'm thinking to myself, like the average realtor, like they're not going to know what I'm looking for. Like I didn't even bother calling a realtor. I just went like direct. I was like, I don't need someone to represent me. What value are they going to add? That was my question. I'm like, why would I pay someone 3%? But talking to you, I'm like, I get it. I get why people are willing to pay that 3%. Because I mean, when someone hires you, it's not just like, here's the comps, right? Here's for sale.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Production. I'm doing like, yeah.
How many homes have you purchased?
I've purchased none. I've been renting. This is going to be my first house.
So this is a theory for you. You have a theory as to what real estate.
Here's my theory. My theory was that realtors would do really well on a regular listing, but I'm looking for a deal. And on a deal, I know how to find a deal because that's kind of like what I focus on.
Well, let me help you. Let me help you do. I think this is. I'm so happy that you asked this question, and you specifically, and not buying a house yet. I love to talk about this. Right, I'm rolling up my sleeve.
I'm ready.
So okay, it's a big misconception that somehow that once that finding the property is like is what you're paying the real estate agent for.
Right.
Finding the property is the tip of the iceberg. Navigating a real estate transaction is the real game that separates the men from the boys and the girls from the women. All right.
Yeah.
You being, let's just say, have you talked to a good lender yet?
Yeah.
And what?
I buy cash, but if I don't, I got a lender lined up.
Okay. So making sure that you're with a lender that has products that it sounds like you said that you could buy cash. So did you know that right now at Wells Fargo, they have the best jumbo loan package right now anywhere in the country? And that more or less, if you have $1 million that you can transfer over to a Wells account right now, that you can get an additional 0.5 point off of what the already historically low interest rate is. That just saved you a ton of money.
Right. I was thinking about buying cash. Then I talked to the mortgage broker, and he's like, "Dude, I can get you a loan for like way less than 3%." I'm like, "Hey, money, might as well."
well, here's the thing, right? That you to be a great real estate agent is to understand the psychology of a great listing agent and a great buyer agent, because you have to understand, especially in a fast-paced market. You said that you may be looking in Austin, Texas. That's a fast-paced market. There are homes down there that sell in multiple offer situations overnight. And so if you're with the wrong lender, let's just say you go to Quicken Loans and you want to toss your hat in the ring, and you're an unrepresented party, or you're with a real estate agent from Redfin because they're a discount broker and you're looking for the deal, but you find a house that you love, and your wife, who I just heard in the background earlier, was talking about how she wanted a certain house that was specific. And when that right house comes along and you find that house where you're going to be living your life, and you're going to be raising your kids, and you're going to be waking up every single day and celebrating milestones, and there's a line of people that want to get that house, you better be working with a real estate agent that knows what they're doing, because it's the difference between your success and all of a sudden you getting a deal is less relevant, because the deal is that house and you just lost that house. Yeah. And so, that's one example. I mean, making sure that you get a pre-offer inspection with a reputable, home inspector who knows what they're doing. And
doing I did today.
And then the other thing is, a lot of people think that they just get these unbelievable, unheard of deals if they just go direct to the listing agent. Where listen, you can't interfere with a listing agreement. So what happens is, for instance, I mean, I've sold a lot of houses this way, where people think that they're getting a great deal, and they come directly to me, right? I have a predetermined commission in the listing agreement that is already signed. So whether or not you buy with a real estate agent with representation, or you buy without, you're basically just doubling the incentive for the person who has no fiduciary obligation to you, and you're thinking that you're getting a deal.
Ready, right?
Yeah. So you have to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
And listen, you know what's so interesting? For such a sensitive financial transaction, you know, especially in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, we write our own contracts. You know, we're basically practicing law without a license.
Right.
And I can tell you that, you know, if you select the wrong real estate agent or somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, that can cost you a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when you're buying a property, my advice to you is, look, this is your chance to get the free lawyer in court. If you were, you know, in a jail cell and there was something that, you didn't do, and you could choose, you know, the state appointed, you know, court attorney who's just newly minted out of law school, or you could choose Johnny Cochran, the undefeated, ball busting winner who knows the judge and plays golf with the people on the weekend. Who'd you choose?
Right.
Choose Johnny Cochran.
Yeah.
So especially as a buyer, be very careful and always get a great representative who has more than just a commission on the line for them. They want to grow with you.
Right. I called a few. To be honest, initially going into Texas, I was going. My plan was to hire a real estate agent. You know why I didn't? I called 20. You know how many called me back? 2.
Well, I'm so sorry to hear that. Can I connect you with someone with international realty?
I called a few Waco, and like none of them called me. So I was like, my goodness. But I think that's what separates pros like you from like the amateurs. The average agent's making like $35K a year. You're doing $75 million properties. I'm sure if I called your office, you'd probably get a ring back in 30 seconds.
Well, Robert, we'll put you in touch with a great agent in Austin, Texas, and they're going to be very well qualified.
I got to talk to the pros. So let me talk. I got to talk to your pro. I got 2 FISBOs I'm trying to get for 50 cents on the dollar. This is not a forever house for me. I'm trying to just get something like cheap.
God bless you.
It's going to be a project house. But after that, I'm probably going to get another place in Austin or Middleburg. Eliza wants Middleburg. So when I get my Middleburg house, I'm gonna have you on speed dial, and I'm not gonna mess around with that one because that's gonna be a generational house.
Love it. Well, it'd be my pleasure to serve your family.
I love it. Well, great tips there. I think that was really, really awesome tips. The pros and cons of working with agent, not working, why you want to work with an agent. I think it makes a lot of sense. I totally get it. So awesome feedback.
Thank you.
Danny, love the talk tonight. I guess one follow-up question I was kind of getting to previously was sort of, in this COVID environment, how do you suggest, we got a lot of shy members in our audience tonight, you know, they're afraid to get out there and talk to folks. How would you suggest folks sort of grow their network in this COVID world today, right now?
Well, we talked a lot about social media. And I'll tell you, I think that what's amazing is that, especially from a distance, because we're all not able to be in the same room, you are who you show people you are. And that this thing in your hand is a very powerful device. And, I think if you start really giving out items of value to people that, well, first of all, get to know, who your audience is. And then from there, figure out how to add value to them. It's just the same thing. Sometimes people have a tendency to just overthink things. There's nothing wrong with just making a list of people that you know and calling them. Just calling them. Just calling and saying, going on Facebook and saying, oh my God, it looks like, Rebecca just had a baby with Mike. I'm gonna give Rebecca a call and say, Rebecca, congratulations on giving birth to little Andon. He's so adorable. Like, I know that we haven't been in touch forever, but like, what's going on with you? Like, tell me what's going on, and be interested and genuinely listen to them. And it's just natural human dialogue. If you ask someone enough questions, they're going to start asking you about you, and then that's your opportunity to talk about what you're doing. And, I believe in human connection. I believe in people. I believe that good people know good people. And if you win the trust of just one person, that can start a chain reaction. So, I think you should be on the hunt for that one person that I'm trying to describe here, and maybe it takes you a couple of days to find that person who, can refer you to somebody that they know, or maybe had just heard of someone who was getting ready to list their house. But, to be a real estate agent is to prove your value. You got to really commit to that if you want to take this far. So I would start by calling the people that you maybe have already transacted with and thanking them, and genuinely checking in on them and making sure that their health is good. And maybe you can drop off a little gift for them, be thoughtful, but you can start there. And it doesn't take, we're not sending rocket ships to the moon here. We're not curing cancer. We're talking about human interaction and, building trust and people seeing something in you that wants, that they want to work with. So don't overthink it. Just call people. Just make something happen.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Awesome. Danny, loved it tonight. If folks want to reach out to you, is the best way to go to your website and contact you, or is there an email? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. You can send me an email. My name's all over the internet by now, so you can. There's plenty of mediums where you guys can find me, and I look forward to hearing from you. And thank you so much for the opportunity to be on the show. I really enjoyed it, and have a good night.
Danny, awesome. Thanks so much, man. And where will we see you in 5 or 10 years? What's the ultimate vision for you?
I think I'll have a very large business by then. And I think that it will have grown to a little bit more than just real estate sales is my hope. And I hope that I get to be operating in other jurisdictions in our country, markets that I really love, markets that have an interest, that I have a genuine interest in, and working with, really committed, wonderful people who want to make the impact that I do.
I got a prediction. We're going to see you on $1 million lists in the next 5 years.
Well, get ready.
Yeah,
I gave you a tame version tonight. You'll get the big show with that.
I can't wait. Daniel, this has been incredible. Your story of how you've grown your business over the last 7 years, all the insights you've shared. I think anyone that wants to get started in real estate, especially luxury real estate, needs to watch this and just learn from your story and how you've had the success that you've had. So, thanks so much for sharing all of this. This has been absolutely incredible. Any final thoughts to leave our audience with tonight?
Yeah, just touching back on what I was saying before, look, a lot of people want to reach out. I talk to people every single day reaching out for advice, all right? But you got to be willing to sacrifice something. If you really want what you say you want, what are you sacrificing? What are you giving up to get that? And so, if you want to be a high-performing real estate agent, are you giving up the TV at night? Are you giving up the fear and anxiety of reaching out and calling someone and making that happen? And I would just say, be prepared for a trade-off. I have an extraordinary business, but there are things that I've traded off for it, and I'm still learning. So, and again, that's based off of my own experience. And with that and my own experiences, don't forget, front load your value. If you get in front of somebody who gives you a chance, make sure you become indispensable to them, and so that you have some staying power and you keep your stock value high. And also, lastly, be very careful about who you get your advice from, because people prescribe based off of what they've experienced. And what I know for a fact is that if I can be here and have a business like this and talk to guys like you and give advice, anybody can. That's how we're going to move forward. So I wish you all luck all
Awesome.
the people on the grow out there.
Great tips. Great tips.
Guys, we've been live with Danny Heider, the top 1% of 1%, working with the ultra wealthy of DC. We've been live at Dealmaker Nation. Until next week, Josh Cohen, Robert Wensley, Sir Robert Wensley, Daniel Heider, thanks so much and have a great night.
Thank
See you guys.
Josh.
Bye-bye.
Guys, thanks for joining us on the live show tonight. If you're on Facebook, make sure to join our Facebook group. It's facebook.com/dealmakernation. Tons of great content in that group, tons of great people. Make sure you're joining the community, join the network, and learning from other like-minded entrepreneurs. Also on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to our channel. You can find it at youtube.com/dealmakernation.